Hello everyone. Good morning. Welcome. Hope you guys are doing good. So let us start the session. If you remember, yesterday we have started creating a partitioned table and clustered table, right? So let us see. So hope you all can see my screen. Okay. So if you remember, yesterday we have created this employee partitioned table, right? Okay, so let us try to create a partitioned table from the editor. Most of the time we will be creating a table from the editor only. So let us try to create a table from the editor. So for example, if I wanted to create a partitioned table by date, what happened? This is not iPhone. Yeah, partitioned by date. Okay, so I'm going to create a partitioned by date column. Okay, so for example, if you wanted to create some table like think you have some table, so sample table I'm trying to create. So create table name I'm going to give as, sorry, I'm going to create it as GCP landing dot landing. The table name I'm going to create it as event table. Okay, so event table name is event, guys. Event table. Okay, this is a table name I wanted to create it, and this table has two things. One is event name, that is string, comma, event date, that is date column. Okay, so I'm creating, usually if I wanted to create a table until this one, I will be creating a table. But if I wanted to make this as a partitioned table, and we have to mention partition by. So I wanted to create a date time partition table, right? So here I am going to mention the column name. The column name I am going to mention is event date. Okay, so this is how you will be creating a partitioned table, sir. So partitioned by date. If you wanted to create a table partitioned by date, you can able to create it like this. Okay, so this is how you can able to create it. This example actually creates a partitioned table where partition key is a date time field, date field, that is event date. Okay, so this is how we can able to create it. This is one table. Let us keep it park here. I wanted to create a one more table, that is partitioned by timestamp. Partition by timestamp. You can also create a table by partition by timestamp also. The same thing. I'm gonna copy the same thing. Okay, I'm gonna paste it here. I would say instead of date, I can just say timestamp also, right? Because it can also be a timestamp. Okay. So whenever you wanted to create a partition table based on the timestamp, you wanted to take the date column, because timestamp, how the timestamp looks like, guys, you can think of like this. For example, today's date is this one, 14/9/2023. The time is 7:43 some 51 seconds. Okay, so this is what is a time stamp. So date will be there, time will also be there. So this is what we call as a timestamp. Timestamp means entire information related to the date field plus the time information will also be there. Okay, this is what we call as a timestamp. And we will also be having either it is a IST or UST or some details will also be there. If you wanted to just print a current timestamp, select current timestamp. If I just print current timestamp, you will come to know how the timestamp looks like. See here, this is how the current timestamps looks like. You can see here, it is in UTC. Don't worry, you can convert it into the IST also later. But you see here, this is a date. This is hours. This is minutes. This is seconds. This is milliseconds. This is 311 is microseconds. Okay, so this is how you will be having your data. Timestamp looks like this one. A sample timestamp looks like this one. Here also it is showing BigQuery mostly stores the data, stores the date time using the UTC only. UTC time. Okay, so if you wanted to convert it into the IST, later you can convert it. Okay, yeah. Now, if I wanted to create, now see here, if I am trying to create a timestamp, if I am taking the column timestamp field, it is saying that there is some error. So whenever you wanted to use a timestamp, 1 minute. Sorry, yeah. So whenever you wanted to use a timestamp column, if you wanted to take a date column, okay, you can mention out of this, I wanted to take only the date. You can mention date here. What will happen is that you are only just taking the date field from it. Okay, date field. The date is a function, sir. Date is a function. What it will do is that, for example, if I try to just mention date, and if I try to use this one, it will just print the date only from the current timestamp. Okay, you see, it will only just print the time date. So this is how you can able to do it. Okay, you see here, process is correct. Okay, whether it is a timestamp or a date time or whatever it is, if you wanted to take it, for example, you can also take a timestamp trunk. You can see here, there are many things are there. You can also take timestamp truncation, and you wanted to take day wise, sorry. Okay, so you are creating a day wise partition. Day wise partition. Sir, no, I wanted to create a month wise partition. Okay, month wise partition. Or, sir, I wanted to create year wise partition. Sir, I wanted to create every hour wise partition. Okay, so this is how you can create. You can just copy these things. This is actually gives you a lot of information. I'm going to paste it here. Okay, you can see here partition by expression is must be partitioned date. Must be a partitioned date, or a date time partition, or a date time partition column, and date time column, date truncate date time column, or just a date time column, a date column, or a timestamp column, date truncate column, or if you wanted to mention in the form of a integer, you can also go for the range bucket for the integer column. So this is how all the information is here. You can actually keep it. Okay, so this is actually gives you. So all the partitions are mentioned. What we are using, timestamp truncate. You see here timestamp truncate. For the timestamp truncate, I mentioned the timestamp column, comma. I can mention year, date, month, year. So anything I can mention. That means hour-wise partition or a day-wise partition or a month-wise partition or a year-wise partition. You can mention anything. If you have a timestamp column. Sir, if I have a date time column if you have, you can use this thing. Sir, earlier, um, so let me just print instead of this thing, I'll go current date time I will print. Okay, current date time I will print. You can mention IST. Would that work? IST is not a proper thing, I believe. Now, if you run it, current date time will actually print current date time. It's not printing the date time. Okay, anyway, but if you wanted to create, you see here, this is your date, this is your month, this is your year. So, sir, I wanted to create day-wise partition. Sir, I wanted to create a day-wise partition. Okay, so if you wanted to take it, so earlier you have a, instead of this event date, I will take a one more table. I will take a one more table. Here it is a partition by date time. Date time column. Date time column, I can just take here it as a date time. So the column can be a date time column also. This field is a date time field. Okay, you can now take a date time truncation, comma, you can just mention day. Okay, so whether it is a date time truncation, you can mention day, month, year. You can also mention month. You can also mention year, year-wise partition. Okay, so this is how, when it is a date time column, you can also mention date time truncation. If you wanted to create a year-wise partition, month-wise partition, or day-wise partition, you can do that. Okay, so that is how all the details are here, guys. All the details are here. You can actually look at it. Okay, if it is a date time, if it is just a date column, you can just mention the date column. Okay, if it is a partition time, ingestion time will be there, right? Partition time, based on the partition time also you can able to do it, but mostly this is, I don't want it to use, mention that one, that's not required. Okay, date on the timestamp column, date on the date column, or time truncation. If you wanted to go for hour wise, day wise, month wise, year wise, or just a date column, I wanted to remove this. Okay, you can also mention just a date column. That's also fine, because the very first thing is date column only. This is a date column. Okay, so I'm gonna keep it one by one here so that you'll be able to see. Okay, so here I'm gonna mention for you timestamp truncation can do all of these things. You see here, it will do all of these things. Here you can change it to hour, day, month, year, based on you. Because assume that I am getting the data, and which is a very heavy, and in a day we are getting a lot of the data. So for that one, I wanted to go for a day-wise partition. Or there are some people who goes hour wise, because their data is very huge in hour only, so that's the reason they will go hour wise partitions. Okay, day wise partition. Some people say my data is very less, I will go month wise partitions also. Some people go year wise partition. So according to the business requirement, they will be going one by one. Okay, most commonly people will be going month wise. Okay, people will be going month wise. Okay, this is a partition by date column, partition by timestamp, a date column. I will just mention here a date column, a timestamp column. And the third one we have seen, this is by date time column. and you can also copy the date time, this thing. Okay, so this is also fine. Here also, when I have a timestamp, I can also go like this also, sir. In a timestamp, I can also just mention here date also. Okay, I can also mention here date time, because you see here. So whether it is a timestamp column or a date time column, I can just mention date. So that's also fine. So try to remember this thing. This will give you a lot of data. And sir, I wanted to create a range wise. That means integer wise. Integer partition I wanted to create. Okay. For example, sorry, it's not coming. Partition by range. Okay. So I'm going to create partition by range. So for example, this is for the integer column, guys. You would just say integer here, so that it would be easy for you guys. So for example, if you wanted to create an integer column, let me just say create table. So I'm using create table. Table name I wanted to create where, sir? GCP landing. The table name I would just say um, order table. Okay, order table. Okay, I wanted to create it as order ID. Order ID, that is I wanted to mention int 64, comma order date. Instead of here, I wanted to take the same example. I don't wanted to change it. Instead of this one, order name, I will just say event name. I would just say event ID. I would just say int 64. Okay, so this is the same table I wanted to take it. So for example, if I wanted, if I'm taking the same table, because here we have the event ID. Now I don't want it to partition by event date. I wanted to partition by order ID. Okay. So whenever you are mentioning this order ID, you can see here, you have to mention range bucket, and you can able to mention the integer column, comma generate array, start value, end value, interval, right? So the same thing I'm going to mention here. Partition by range bucket. Sorry. Range bucket. I'm gonna say start value. Sorry, column. The column is event ID. The start value for the event ID is, I would just say 1. The end value is some 10. The interval is some, so let us just say the end value can be some 10,000. The integer can be some 1,000. Okay, so this is how you can able to mention. Okay, this is a proper one. Partition by integer column. You see here, range bucket I have used. Okay, range bucket I have used, where we can also use integer columns for the what, sir? Partition purpose. So mostly this is not used, but this is an example I want you guys to know. That's the reason I have used it here. Okay, so mostly you will not be able to use it here. Okay, so for this purpose, try to understand. So what we are mentioning range bucket is, so if you wanted to mention the column name and the start value or the end value and the range, nothing but a what we call as the range. Range is nothing but an interval. Okay, so this is how you can able to do it, sir. So it defines the boundary. It defines the boundary for each partition. So when you say 0 to 1000 is one boundary, nothing but a one partition. And 1000 not 1 to 2000 is one more partition. And 2000 not 1 to 3000 is one more partition. So that's how you are creating a boundary for the each partition based on the integer column. So this is also a very valid one. Okay, so we have created a date time partitions, timestamp partitions, partition by date time, partition by integer. Okay, so here also I can use one more thing also. Here I can use date. Here also I can use date. So that is also one more partition. So let me mention that also here, because this is that type. Okay, this is that type. Date of timestamp column. Date of 1 minute, guys. 1 minute, please. Ah. Hmm. Sorry, guys. So I was talking about date also. We can use date with the timestamp. All the varieties I'm telling you. So more than that, you will not be seeing anything. So you can use date with the date time. Okay. So these are the. This is the first case where we will just using the a date column. This is a phase where we are using the timestamp with the date column, date function, and timestamp truncation function. And this is where we are using the date time field with the date function and date time truncate function. And this is for the range bucket with the integer call. Okay, I will be pasting all of these scenarios in our notes and you can able to access it later. Okay. Okay, so I have pasted it here, you can check it later. Right, so this is how it is partitioned table. And if you wanted to mention cluster here itself, that's a one more thing. Okay, if you wanted to mention cluster here, you can also add cluster also. For example, sir, so for all of these things, if I wanted to add cluster, you can mention. You can just mention here cluster by. Okay, you can just mention by cluster by. And if you wanted to mention this thing, that's perfectly fine. Okay. So this is how you can able to mention cluster by also. Okay. So if you wanted to mention one column, two column, whatever the number of columns you can mention, you can able to add it here. You can able to add it here. Okay, so for all of these things you can also add it here, guys. So I'm mean to say, for example, you can go here, you can add it here as well, you can add it here as well. So you can mention, sir, I wanted to mention one more column also, up to 4 columns for the cluster also you can add it. Okay, so this is also one more example for all of those things. Okay, so this is for the range bucket. Example for the range bucket. So I'm going to copy all of these things. Now, if you guys have any questions, you can ask me. And I just wanted to close the session for here today. I have some important tasks somehow. Okay, I'm going to stop it here for today. If you guys have any questions, you can ask me.
How to access this notes?
Which one? Sorry.
The notes, the one you're writing.
I have sent you the notes access, guys, for all of you.
Like, I mean, when you say sent, you mean through email?
So I'm sending, guys, you all have access to the notes. 1 minute, guys, sorry. So you all have access to the notes. I'm going to ping it in the chat. Try to
Okay.
copy this link, okay? Try to copy this link.
Okay.
Okay. So
Thank
if you
you.
guys
Thank you.
do not have an access to the notes, try to access this one. You will be having access to the notes. Notes will have all the information every day, whatever I am saying, you will be having all the information here. Okay. Yeah. Anyone have any other questions?
Sir, also can you share this Telegram group link so that we will join the Telegram group?
Yes. You can run all one at a time. You can run all. Guys, many people are there. One by one, please raise your hand if you guys have any questions. Okay. So if you wanted to run all these statements, you can run it. Okay, just change the table name. Okay, here I will just say table 1, table 2, table 3, table 4, table 5, table 6. Okay, run it everything, all the tables will be created. Okay, table 2 is already exist. Did we mention table 2 one more time? Okay, sorry guys. Okay, I will just share table 7. Okay, let me delete. Yeah, my kid is there here. She is not actually, my wife is not around. So that's the reason. Yeah, I think so. Now it's good. Table 1, table 2 I have deleted. Table 2, yeah. All the tables will be created now. See here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Somewhere some problem is there with one of the bucket. Number of argument does not match the range bucket. Yeah. So we will see that, guys. Okay. So this is how you can also go to public documentation and look at it if you wanted to create any partitions. Okay, partition table you can check. Partition table you can. Partitions table in BigQuery. You can check. Okay, introduction to the partition table. You can actually create if you wanted to create any partitions. Okay, so you will be having integer range partition. Here it is. Here it is. He is saying here like this. So the argument is column name, start value, end value, interval. The same thing we have used. If you can see here somewhere integer column, they have not created. Sorry, you can see here types of partitions. One is integer partition, time unit partition, ingestion time partition. Select daily, hourly, monthly, or yearly partitions also. Combining clustered and partitioned tables. Okay, so all of those things, if you wanted to create it, you can click on create. Left side, you can click on create partitioned tables. So you can able to go here, and if you wanted to create in console, not console, SQL. Okay, here it is. Create table, transaction ID, integer, transaction date, date. They have created here partition by transaction date. Okay, and there is also one more thing, partitioned expiration days. That means if you mention this expiration days, right, after this many days, that partition will not be available. The partition will not be available. So that is a one more thing. Okay, so that's one thing. You can see here one more partition, that is we have seen, right, date time truncate, transaction date and month wise and day wise. All of the details are here if you wanted to check it. Whatever the combination I have told you, right, date truncate here, date time truncate here, sorry, timestamp truncate, and here date truncate. The same thing, whatever I have told you, all the things will be here. And you can also see here range bucket customer area generate array. I forgot. This was a problem. I have to mention here also it is there, right? Generate array. Generate array. I have to start the bracket and close the bracket. So this was a problem.
So you're sharing a screen. I'm not able to see your screen.
You are not able to see my screen. I'm sharing my screen.
You're sharing, okay. I'm not sure it's my end or it's your end. I don't know. If everybody else is saying, then it's fine.
Even I am not able to see.
I am also not able to see or share screen.
It just now or from the very beginning?
No, it's just loading. Just now.
last 10 minutes, I would say,
Okay.
after you said, you're gonna, last 5 minutes or maybe 10 minutes.
Okay. But anyway, you have the notes, guys. So look at it. But I'm not sure. It's still sharing, so there wouldn't be some problem. Okay. But anyway, I'm stopping here the session for today. Okay. What you
Sir,
can do
also,
is,
we are not able to access the notes, sir. I don't know about others, but yeah, I'm not able to access it.
all the people have access to the notes. It wouldn't be that case. So if you try to open it, and it will be able to access it. Okay. Guys, can you check it? Can you click on the link and let me know?
Yeah.
I can access it. I can,
Yeah.
I just clicked the link you,
Yeah. They can able to access means all people can able to access it, guys. Just know one of the guys.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Because try to access this one because all the information I am going to copy it here only. Yeah. Okay, this is it for today, guys. I'm stopping it here for today, and we will see the rest of the things. So far, we have completed in the BigQuery, like how we can able to ingest the data, how we can able to how to create a table in different varieties, how to load the data in different varieties, how to create a partition tables and cluster tables, variety of partition tables and variety of clusters. Also, we have seen so far, and I think mostly we have covered. There is one more concept that is nested fields. Okay, nested fields. If you have a nested data, how do you load that data to the BigQuery? That is the only advanced concept that is there. People usually be asking in the interviews. That I will be telling you tomorrow. And after that, we will be creating a data pipelines, data processing systems. Okay, and that's what we are. We are going to start with PySpark. So maybe from Monday onwards, we are going to start with PySpark. Yeah. Okay, guys, this is it for today. And I think we are good, right? Anyone have any questions? Correct, correct. But you have to install the MySQL on top of it, right? Yes, yes, virtual machine only. I have installed MySQL on top of the virtual machine. So for that one, you can actually go for one YouTube video. There is one YouTube video, or you can actually access my notes, and I have here. So you can create like this. Okay, you can create a virtual machine with the Ubuntu operating system and allow all HTTPS and try to create some allow it, and or you can also go to here to install. So once you have created a Ubuntu operating system, right? So you can actually go to this particular link. This table. Okay, I'm gonna paste here the link, or I will paste the YouTube link, guys. So they will be telling you how to create a virtual machine in a virtual machine as well as MySQL on VM. Yeah, here it is. I'm gonna copy this link and paste it to you guys. Okay, so I'm gonna paste a YouTube link. Try to access this one. Try to copy it now itself because once the class is closed, you may not be able to see it. For those people who wanted to install the MySQL on top of the virtual machine, they can actually go for that. Yeah, MySQL need to be installed, and that's not that easy. There are plenty of steps to be followed, so you can try it out. Okay, guys. Yeah, thank you all. We will see tomorrow rest of the things. Yeah.